Hello and welcome to Stretford Paddock. This is the Paddock Podcast. Ronaldo Brown is here. Jay Mott is here. As always, my name's Joe as well. We've got a lot to talk about today. Yes. United put in, I'm going to say, a decent performance against Arsenal. Got a decent result against Arsenal. There's some highs, there's some lows. We're going to go through it all. What looked good? Are there some sort of green shoots of potential growth when it comes to Amorim's system at Manchester United? But also, everyone's losing their minds. Roy Keane's lost his mind again. Kicking off. We're going to go through all of that. Is it undeserved? Is it a little bit almost what's the word for something being parody-like? Paradolical at this point. Is it getting a bit too much, all these pundits, every time United, Roy Keane, Paul Scholes, Gary Neville, every time they talk about Man United, it's like
they just become the
world's caving in. We'll get into all of that. Ronnie, how are you first?
Do you know what? I'm great, but I would have been greater if we got the result over the line yesterday, because you know how much I hate Arsenal.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone knows that.
I was tempted to do the watch along just to be with Ronnie when we play.
I know, you hate Arsenal.
You don't ask me whether I'm coming on the Arsenal watch along.
That's a given. It's who's on the watch along with Ronnie? Yeah. That's the question we always ask. Because you're definitely on it, because you hate Arsenal like
it really is
most
that
of us
simple,
hate the Scousers.
We've got loads to talk about, but before we get into the specifics, the quotes, all that sort of stuff, what was your general feeling around the game yesterday? And did you feel as though there were any hints or signs that think certain elements are moving in the right direction?
You know what? I enjoyed it. And I'm not ashamed to say that. I did. And we drew against Arsenal, look how the mighty fall. We're 14th, they're second, let's get a grip. Let's have a bit of context. We're missing so many first team players. Well, I know they're missing Saka, I get it. We're missing Ahmad, Mainu, Martinez. Yoro went off. Your guy's injured. Mount's injured. Forget about him. Shaw. I know Shaw never plays anyway. We're missing about 7 or 8 players that had probably started yesterday. I thought it was a good game. I enjoyed it. I took my 2 youngest kids with me. They loved it. It was a good atmosphere and it was an enjoyable game of football. Yes, it's annoying. I get you, Ronnie. We could have snatched it at the end, but to be honest with you, it was a decent match, and I don't get all the negativity. I'm not going to say let's get the bunny now because we drew it home to Arsenal, who haven't won in the last 3 Premier League games, whatever it is. But it was a pretty decent performance and an enjoyable match and a great atmosphere. So yeah, I liked it.
No, their injuries is pretty much like frontline dominant, because their pretty much front 8 is perfectly fit, innit? Starting back 4,
what their main injuries
keeper,
are Saka,
starting midfield
Havertz, Martinelli, who came on, and Jesus. They're the big ones. Everyone else, like you said, it's the normal midfield, the normal midfield.
The strongest they can come out with, really.
Yeah. And that, I guess, some of that showed up in the game of they controlled the ball, they controlled everything except the chance creation. United created better chances, had a higher XG, looked to be the team that was actually likely to win the game as it played out. One sign that I want to talk about that for me was a big bonus was Aiden Heaven, and not just him, but also what he kind of represents in an Amorim system. I know Yoro has a lot of these as well, but these qualities. He's a young player. He just turned 18 years old?
Yeah, I think he's 18,
but he brings a lot of things that United need that not necessarily everyone has. He brings a composure on the ball. He wasn't tasked with playing out from the back massively, switching play. He wasn't Lisandro Martinez on the ball, but he can play with the ball at his feet. He's got a speed and physicality to him that we kind of lack in maybe a Lindelof or maybe a speed of Martinez. He's got a lot of attributes that are very good. He wants to impress. You can see he's very keen. He's stepping up with his man.
Up, didn't he?
You what? Sorry.
He looked pumped up.
He looked ready to go.
Played to the crowd a little bit.
I love that. Yeah, mate. I did. He got everyone going.
Is that?
Me and Finn on Academy Review. It's out tomorrow. We're chatting. Using a bit of swagger, a bit of like a player who comes into United team. We've had so many players who come to United team, and it looks like they've won the competition to play for United.
That's why I honestly wouldn't mind Cheeto coming on.
Oh,
someone coming on with a little bit of a vendetta.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that was. He was warming up in front of me, right? And he kept looking over to Amorim, even though it was like the 93rd minute. He was almost going like this, Gaffer, and I was thinking,
because Aiden never had the bit between his teeth. Obviously, playing against his ex-team. Yeah. Cheeto's obviously got that little bit of animosity towards him as well. I thought if he'd come on, he could have channeled that.
And you know what? He would have been absolutely destroyed by Arsenal fans if he'd have, let's say, missed the chance that Hoyland missed or something. Arsenal fans are so ready to kill.
I also think as well, even though it was up to me, I'd have brought Cheeto on, but I'm not the Manchester United manager, and there's a good reason for that. Yeah. You have got a game on Thursday where Cheeto isn't available, Rasmus Højlund is. Now let's say, for example, you'd have gone, Rasmus, you're not coming off the bench, so I'm bringing on Cheeto instead. Mm-hmm. he ain't going to go into Thursday's game feeling full of beans and confidence. You've got to at least try and get him, show me you're backing him.
Because this game on Thursday
is the season, isn't it? It is.
When I saw the starting lineup and I saw that Højlund and Cheeto were on the bench, I knew it was unlikely that Cheeto was going to come on.
Yeah, I think
because he was always going to go for the experienced player up front, and I knew that Cheeto weren't going to get a sniff. But I would have preferred it to have been him.
Yeah.
Oh, me,
I think he would have probably scored a couple of chances at Højlund.
If he'd have scored, I'd be banned from United. I'd be banned from Old Trafford. I'd have been on that pitch.
The gimmick cat would have ran. They would have hated me if we won yesterday.
Yeah,
that watch-along would still be going now. It's still running. Have been talking for like 26 hours non-stop, like just trolling Arsenal.
So many of them follow me now as well, and I think that just ready to pounce. They definitely would have seen it.
No.
Do you know when you see like a video of like some random bloke with bleached blonde hair doing a dance, and it'd be like, can't wait till Martinez drops a stinker. There'll be people like, can't wait till Ronaldo Brown like loses a game, and people have just been going, can't wait to tear into you. But they couldn't, because a 1-1 draw is a much better result for us than it is for them. They're trying to theoretically catch Liverpool, and we're trying to stay away from Wolves. You know, a 1-1 draw for us is a decent result. Just on Heaven quickly, and what you mentioned there about his sort of, I don't even know what the word is. The kind of the correct attitude that he brought to the game, the intensity, the willingness to do things. It's almost like, not giddiness, because that suggests that it's like brainless, but like a real energy to it. Like, I'm really up for this. And Martinez brings that energy, and certain players, Bruno brings that energy every single week. But that is an energy that at times we lack in the squad. There's too many people who get the ball and they look around and they turn back and they go that way and they come back and everything's a bit floppy and a bit slow, and it's you kind of want to scream, grab him by the shirt and say, fucking wake up. Heaven had that with him, and I wonder if that's part of the youth kind of approach that United are taking. It's people who are desperate to prove themselves, who are really not happy to be there. You don't want, lottery winners playing for you, but people who bring a level of like, oh shit, yeah, it is incredible to play for Man United. It is a privilege to be able to put that tackle in or sprint, or not everything's a drag and everything's, difficult. I can't be arsed doing that, but I'll do it anyway. It makes the system, and it makes playing for Manchester United look like a good thing rather than it's the worst part of my week, this I've got to put United.
He looked decent on a previous cameo as well, so we can't just...
No, he did. It was
like
Fulham game. Was it Fulham? I think it was.
So he's obviously a talented player. There's always a bit of an extra little bit of prestige in it when it's a left-footed centre-half too. So he's definitely got that going for him.
Could have been me. That's the
you.
thing. It could have been
your
me.
left-footed centre-half.
I thought he was Andy Carroll, left-footed up front.
No, well, I can do the lot. I see what you're getting. I can do up front, I can play the back.
All right, you're not Andy Carroll, you're Jonathan Woodgate instead.
Wow.
A little bit of both. Any sort of long-haired
Newcastle
English
player. Has he played for Newcastle?
Jonathan Woodgate. Yeah, and the one that played for Celtic.
Samaras. A little Samaras going on. I can see that as well. Yeah, sure. But yeah, Heaven was a plus point. I also thought, just generally speaking, and this isn't a knock on Xerxes, I thought when Højlund and Collier and Heaven had all come on, there was much more intensity to United's press. Collier and Højlund in particular, because I liked Xerxes. I thought he had some good touches, but and I know Højlund missed his chances, so I'm not saying it was bad to great, but I thought Arsenal didn't struggle to play out from the back at all until Collier had come on and until Højlund had come on. I don't know which one of those brought most of that value, but United looked like a team that could take the ball off their defence for the first time in the game. And I thought that was something really good. Collier's energy and intensity.
Could that just be a bit of a change in game state, or where Arsenal have become a little bit more desperate and it's a little bit more stretched?
Potentially, but I thought we were a step or two off the pace. When it's Eriksen and Xerxes pressing compared to Collier and Højlund, I do think that we gained a lot there. Personally, just from watching the game, I thought there seemed to be a step up. Like Højlund's chance came from us pressing the ball well. And I thought that was something that got better as the game went on rather than getting worse.
I did think you waited a little bit too long to bring Collier on as well.
I was calling for Collier.
I thought Eriksen was done for a little while.
I said that exactly what you said. I said Eriksen looks done, like his legs look like they've gone here.
And people don't know whether maybe if Collier was on, he might have filled that gap that Rice got when he scored.
Potentially. But they had that gap a lot. They're just not quite inside the box. But we let them have the ball on the 18-yard line. We just usually didn't shoot.
I know you're not being, but I don't want me to sort of negative towards Amorim. I think you got it right yesterday, Amorim. Because I looked at that team, I thought, Jesus Christ, what's good? This is going to be a struggle with like Casemiro, with Eriksen, even with Xerxes to a lesser degree. I thought we might get found out here, but I thought we did all right, man. I did. Maybe it's me being sort of romanticising the game because I just really enjoyed it, but it was good, man. The crowd was up for it. We've been I know it's a low bar this season, but we're 14 for a reason, right? Our home form in particular is woeful. And I've seen teams like Palace, Brighton, Bournemouth, Newcastle come to Old Trafford and literally not even get out of second gear and just sort of play us off the park. I've seen Southampton for an hour play us off the park. I thought yesterday, it was a game. We were up for it, and we made a game of it, despite missing a lot of players. I know they're missing some, but we're missing more. And despite the fact we struggled,
because
we took the lead in the first half, though, didn't we?
Yeah, but that was
right at the end of the first half.
That was largely against the runner player, though. I think for the most part, the first half wasn't that great.
No, well, I wanted to mention that because Amorim spoke, because there's been so much about Amorim's, he's got to change his system, this isn't working, play to the players you've got, etc., etc. And there's kind of a pushback, tug of war going on with different mindsets on that. He said himself after the game, we don't want to play like this, defending so much and leaving the ball to the opponent, but with all the matches, all the problems and the characteristics of the players, we try to adapt and find a way to win the match. Second half we played better. That to me tells me that he is flexible.
I don't mind that. And look, you got to cut your cloth accordingly. You look at the players at your disposal as well. This isn't a vintage United team. There's a reason we're going to finish the lowest we've ever finished in the Premier League, because we're just woefully short of top class players, especially not just injuries as well, but probably need a few reinforcements in terms of signings and stuff. So it's not like he's got a bench full of superstars or a squad where he can go, okay, I can call on these players. I mean, you'll mention there, Ronnie, and I agree with you. Collier should have come on earlier. Collier's a kid that made his debut, 4 months ago?
Yeah.
Like, in the Premier League. Like, these are the players we need to see, and these are still relatively unproven. Cheeto's another one. Again, I agree with you. I would have liked to see Cheeto on, but he's 17. He's played twice for United or 3 times for United. This is what he's having to do with the manager. He's like, he hasn't got that many players to choose from. Yeah. And also, you're up against an Arsenal team, and yes, they're not in the greatest of form in the Premier League, but they did just win, 7-1 in Europe, and they were still, until yesterday, I think, in with a slight chance of winning the title. Yeah, you got to be honest about where we're at, where they're at, and what you can do about that.
But Liverpool have got to pretty much lose half their games now.
Oh, it's done.
Yeah, it's not.
Do you know what I mean? It's not happening. But do you know what was an indicator of the fact that the first half wasn't that great? Is that when we scored just before half time, everyone's first thought was, our half time record might go here.
Someone said that to me.
Record?
Old Trafford, we've never lost.
I think we haven't lost since 1984 when
we've been leading
at Old Trafford in a league. Leading at half time. And the first
I didn't
thought
think of that. Someone said that to me at half time, and I forgot about it, so you just mentioned it now.
Because the way Arsenal was playing, it felt like they could easily score 2 in the second half and turn it around, and then the record's gone. And I think we were.
What was it like in terms of their chances? Because they were there in the first half. There at the other end, did they have decent chances?
Not really, to be fair.
Because I obviously could see, but I couldn't see it clearly what they're. It didn't look to me like Andre Onana had a whole lot to do.
No,
it's like Odegaard was getting on the ball quite a lot, and he was kind of probing, but he just didn't. He doesn't have that Bruno Fernandes cutting edge. So I think they were like huffing and puffing, but they just don't have. They didn't have the final third quality to kind of get over the line. People think they don't usually have it when they've got Havertz and Saka available and Martinelli, thinking it's just Saka really, and the other two aren't that elite. So never mind when they don't have him. Yeah. Obviously they're relying on a 17-year-old Ranieri on right wing. He's talented, really good, but come on. Yep. And then they've got Trossard on the left. He's just decent, really.
Trossard.
Do you know what someone said about Trossard, which is correct? He looks like he'd perfectly fit into the Adams family.
Wow. No, that's.
And then it came.
He's got that eye shadow.
It came on the screen, and he literally, it does look like.
Yeah. I mean, Bruno Fernandes, by the way, you mentioned him there. What a fucking player he is. Honestly, what is it? The 3rd season in a row now he's got 25 goals or assists for United. In some shambolic campaigns for us. He's the hardest working player. He's running past other people to press their defence. He's the most technically gifted player that we've got, certainly in an attacking area. He's absolutely phenomenal. And every single week, especially when you watch him at the game, and obviously I don't go that often, but it was apparent yesterday. It was apparent, I thought, against Palace as well. He's just got another level compared to everyone else. When he gets it and he does that little sort of half dummy and knocks it through someone's legs who's crossing over him, and he gets space for himself, and he finds the pass so much more frequently than everyone else. He's just another level to everyone else, I think.
You know, I've been saying this for a second. It annoys me a little bit. It's like it takes for him to get a goal for certain people to go, oh yeah, actually. Like, he has been mint. He's been our best signing post for Alex Ferguson by easily. It's not even a debate. Who's the best signing United have made post Alex Ferguson? It's Bruno Fernandes. It just is. And like, you watch him sometimes and you think, okay, look, I get it. Sometimes he will lose his head a little bit, try things that aren't coming off. But the amount of times he'll do a decent pass to one of his teammates and it comes to nothing. The amount of times, like you say, run past one of his teammates to go and get the ball, and then you'll turn on Match of the Day or after the game, whatever, and the guy who's getting a stick is Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah. He's trying too much. You think, well, that's to make up for the fact that no one else is trying anything.
He's surrounded by a lot of players who aren't up to it, and also, I know it's again, it's not like the be all and end all, but it does matter. You said it. The best ability is availability. He's always available. Yeah. Everyone else is injured all the time. Yeah. All of our players get injured everyone seems to miss at least 3 months a season at United. It's like a rule. Yeah. You have to miss at least a third or a quarter of the season. And he never does.
Doesn't miss games, or whenever he does,
that's what I mean.
He has one of his best performances after it.
Yeah, he's missed games about 3 times.
So imagine a world where United were good enough where Bruno could take a game off or go off the bench once in a while.
And the other thing with him as well is, like, he does all this stuff and gets all this stick, but he never comes out and slags anyone off. There's never any controversies off the pitch. You never see him walking out of a club or saying, I want a new challenge, or
a cryptic post on socials.
Black and white picture
that
of him.
You can't, is he having a go or not? We don't know.
You never have to worry about that with him. You don't even consider that, he does the right thing on and off the pitch. And that's not to say he doesn't have bad games, and you can't say he's had a bad game.
He was alright yesterday.
Imagine coming into a team as well where you've got you got Herrera, you got Pogba, in front of you got Mason Greenwood, Marcus Rashford, Anthony Martial, can't stop scoring, and then they take all those players that are gone and you replace with players that are struggling, and everyone's still having a go at you despite the fact you're the one who's usually our top scorer and top assist maker, and you're the captain, and you're covering the most amount of most blades of grass, and you're never injured. And it's just like, come on, man, it's ridiculous. And all the Bruno haters, whenever I've spoken to someone who hates Bruno, they've come up with arguments like, Donny van der Beek should start over him. Yeah, how's he getting on? Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, all right. Bruno's the problem at United. All right, take Bruno out of that team. Where do you think we're going to be yesterday? I'll tell you what, we wouldn't have got a point. No. Not a chance.
No. I want to talk about Roy Keane and some of the other pundits in a second. Daniel Berry, though, in the comments says, Casemiro did play well. He didn't have to cover large spaces. He could just read the game and make more tackles. What he's been good at for 10 years. Ross Murphy kind of agreed. I thought Casemiro did play well, but I thought the reason he played well is because of what Amram said. We sat back, so he had less space to cover because there were fewer gaps, fewer large spaces. It suited some of our players. It also suited Garnacho, who I thought had one of his most dangerous games in a while yesterday, because, again, it suited him running off the ball into space, receiving it on a counter-attack.
It was an outlet yesterday. That's what I was saying. Some Garnacho up because he's a live wire. He's got a big engine, and he was an outlet when we needed one because we didn't have pace outside of him. I think the other two front three was Xerxes and Ericsson. Yeah, not exactly big movers. But it's just the usual thing with Garnacho, and he just struggles with the end bit, doesn't he?
Yeah, there is the end product issue, obviously, and that didn't go away. But I thought he looked, when you compare how dangerous he was and how much he actually brought the ball forward compared to Ericsson and Xerxes, I thought he was head and shoulders above them. Yeah,
I know it's not the be-all end all, but I thought in the second half
I don't think he was poor. I don't think when Xerxes got on the ball, I didn't think he's going to take it to Arsenal now. And I don't just mean dribbling. I mean, Bruno was playing 1-2s on the edge of the box and getting shots away. Garnacho actually would drive and cover yardage with the ball at his feet.
It's tough against them two up front, and Gabriel and Saliba, especially with the ref lets Gabriel commit.
Mate,
some of the climbing on people's backs and stuff that they were just letting go.
Gabriel does that every game, and the referees allow it. Reputation refereeing. I said if his name was Ben Mead, I'd give a foul for it.
Yeah, 100%, bro.
But, sorry, come on. Let's talk about Roy Keane. Roy Keane. He's Portuguese, like Rui Costa. Yeah. No, Roy Keane. Talking after the game, again, not sort of buying into this, well done Manchester United for getting a draw to Arsenal. He said, United getting cheered off there, we used to get booed off if we'd drawn. You watched almost every Roy Keane game for Manchester United, Jay. I know maybe some of it you weren't in the best state and maybe you didn't go to every away game. How often do you remember booing off or being in a stadium that booed off Man United when they'd drawn a game?
I think there was one, if memory serves me, I think Rude missed a penalty once. Was it against Sunderland or someone? I think it was when Gary Neville kicked off with the crowd. That's the only one I've got out of.
But it certainly wasn't commonplace to boo them off when they drew with the team in second place.
I can't think of any others, and people can get involved in the chat in the comments and remember, but I know the referee's been booed off a few times at full time. You know what I mean? That's the difference between booing off the players. And I just think with Keane, I love Roy Keane. He's probably my favourite United player of all time. But you have to put a bit of context into things. For starters, I don't believe that you'd have got booed off if you drawn with Arsenal. Secondly, we're 14th and they're second. Thirdly, we're missing so many players. Even yesterday, the team that started didn't even finish because of injury. Lenny Yoro had to go off and get replaced by a teenager who's barely played for United.
Another teenager.
Yoro's a team.
Oh, yeah, sorry. That's a good point. But obviously, an unproven teenager. Lenny Yoro was a player that's played a lot of football for a teenager and was wanted by Real Madrid, being replaced by a player that cost us, £1.5 million, and he's, just turned 18. So we're missing a lot of players. We've been woeful all season. That was a decent performance. The manager, I think, got it right. And I think just give it a bit of credit. This whole thing of just... I mean, I like, he said something as well after the game, which made me laugh. He said... is it Arsenal have drawn 10 games? You don't win the title by drawing 10 games. The Invincibles drew 12. Like, that's just wrong. I just feel...
But that could be...
The whole thing with Keane is... And it is kind of his personality. Is like, he has these standards. The standards at United when he was there were up here. And he maintained them standards. There's a reason he's United's most successful captain ever. And that's because even in training or whatever on the pitch, he would never, ever let standards slip. I get that.
Yeah.
But I do think you have to sort of be a bit more rational about what is going on now and what you're seeing and the reason the crowd reacted as it did. Because part of that feels like a bit of a criticism of the crowd. And I'm not going to apologise for getting behind a team that I thought played well.
On the draw thing, isn't that a fair comment, though? Because if the example uses a team that didn't lose the whole season whilst having that many draws and won the title, I think he...
Oh, sorry, I get the point he's making.
There's a couple of people making the point as well that he kind of was a little smirk at the end of we used to get booed off for that comment.
Oh, was it? I've only seen it written, to be fair.
But again, though, that's the point, because when, the argument he had with Ian Wright about Bruno Fernandes couldn't have been more serious. No one can tell me that was a joke.
No, he was
clearly lost his head.
He was angry with him.
This whole thing of like trying to still hold them to the standards of 2004, and not just personality and professionalism wise you should do, but like the results wise when you look at the squad, I do think he kind of blurs the lines between what he's being serious about and what he's not. And I think a lot of the times even the jokes he makes are a tongue-in-cheek version of things he said seriously in the past, and he's either playing on that or he's kind of carrying on that idea without wanting to be as serious about it. But I do think he does think like that, because he seems that echoes the stuff that he says when he is definitely being serious.
If Roy Keane has any criticism, I'm not seeing the whole Roy Keane analysis because I was at the game, but I think the criticism of Arsenal is more accurate. Like, you should be criticising them. Like, they're a team that have drawn the last 3 games of the Premier League, going for the title, coming up against the United team, missing so many players who've struggled at home, especially this season, and yet again they can't get over the line. I think there's more criticism is more warranted towards Arsenal than it is towards Manchester United. Like, United, I think, played well
for that game.
Yeah, like, I get your point, Ronnie. The first half wasn't great, but I don't think Arsenal particularly. I can't remember it feeling like, oh my god, they're going to score it. It just felt a bit meh. Yeah. And then obviously we got the goal and struggled out of time. But the second half much better. And look, we're trying to get top half of the table. They're trying to go for a title. They were still almost in a title race, and now I think it's completely done. Yeah, that was like the final. That's the final nail in any sort of coffin.
I think that the final nail had already been put in the coffin.
Yeah, to be honest with you,
it's just extending what was already a certainty for me. We've got a couple of super chats and then we'll carry on. Akash says, I get what Joe's saying, but Amram has made it clear he doesn't play in a low block. Overhaul needed in the summer to play on the front foot. I completely agree with that. I think long term it isn't going to work, and I think even outside of the biggest games, the top opponents, it wouldn't work. People won't accept that next week against Leicester, for instance. Us going there and sitting back and playing a low block. I think that at certain moments, playing within your ideas and within your structures, a slightly different kind of model isn't necessarily a problem. But again, you can't have it like, again, Ten Hag did this and we talk about it all the time. He got scared and he went, these lot can't do what I want them to do. I'm going to have to play to their strengths. And then 12 months later, when he tried for a second time to play to his system, they still couldn't do it and he got sacked. If Amram's ever going to do this, he has to do it now while he's in his sort of grace period as a manager. You only get a few months where no matter what happens, you're not going to get sacked. And these are the first few months. So he has to come in, work out who can do what they can and what he wants and who can't, and then stick with it. Because otherwise, you play to the players' strengths now, the new season starts, you'll be sacked by Christmas if it doesn't work then. Get it out of the way now.
Because there is a pattern that's emerged that our best performances have come against the better teams.
Yes.
It's true,
Do you know what I mean? And I don't think it's just a system thing, the fact that we can sit with 5 at the back and counter. I feel like the players almost look a little bit more energised when they're playing against the bigger teams anyway.
He said that.
There's a bit more.
He said that. He called it out.
There's an attitude difference and there's a bit more effort as well. It's not just the system. That's why I'm so annoyed that we're not showing that against the lesser teams.
Yeah.
Where we're expected to kind of take the game by the scruff of the neck. But I don't know if we don't have enough quality to kind of get it over the line when we do have that. But
you've got to have both, haven't you? Think of the best teams of the last 10 years. You look at the City side, you look before that that kind of Madrid side, you look at Barcelona, the one that beat us in 2 finals, the last 15 years or so. Yes, they were incredibly talented and maybe the most talented in their league, but did that Barcelona team also work really hard? Did that Real Madrid team, especially in Europe, work really hard? Did the City team work really hard? Of course they did. You can't have one or the other. If you want to be really good, you have to do both. So I don't think just players who only turn up and only work hard in the big games, anyone could do that. You have to work hard in every single game. And if you don't, look at City this season. All it takes is a couple of injuries and a bit of a feeling sorry for yourself, or take the foot off the gas because you won 4 in a row, and all of a sudden you're losing to fucking Forest every week.
I forgot they'd lost.
It's become normal now, isn't it?
What is, like a little weekend
they're a bit flaky in
it,
City, just as an institution in general. Because they've had the first time they've had a bit of adversity, they've crumbled.
I don't know why. Why couldn't we be the ones capitalising on it instead of Liverpool? How good would it be?
They've been too used to having things all their own way.
Yeah.
They're getting proper pressures as well, City fans. Like they are getting like everything City used to criticise us for, they've become worse.
Yeah.
Graham
Sharkey with a super chat says, happy to hear Bruno getting praise. He's top class and he's sacrificing his own output to cover 2 or 3 positions. I love him. Proper captain, I completely agree. Speaking of Bruno Fernandes, popped the old free kick in yesterday. What about that bloody Wally? Have you ever seen anything like it? In your life of watching football, have you ever seen a full 24-hour news cycle obsessed with the distance of a wall away from a free kick? I have never seen this in my life. You've got Dermot Gallagher striding across the Sky Sports news studio. You've got every outlet in the world talking about, this, that and the other. Should referees have a tape measure on them when they're doing the wall? Some of the stuff I've seen about this is absolutely embarrassing. Have you ever seen this before, Ronaldo? The wall was 11.2 yards away.
Arsenal, though, innit? They just love a moan. But I think if you look at how it was a small distance that Bruno got over the wall, didn't he? So it's probably if that extra yard would have made a difference, they are going to moan. But just made a big thing because it's United that scored it and it's Arsenal that are doing the complaining, because that's been on brand for them the whole season.
They love it, don't they? They love
it.
They do love it.
Why are you not asking why your goalkeeper is stood where he was stuck?
Yeah, the ball goes in 2 feet from the crossbar, 2 feet from the post. If that's Onana, honestly, he is destroyed for that. And everyone's going, don't matter how far the wall away is, the goalie's got to do better. And yet when it's Raya, who did a little De Gea save for Mazraoui and thinks he's ace, basically lets that ball in. And it's not like he's wrong-footed. He's already taking steps to the left before Bruno hits it, and he's still miles away from it. It's nowhere near the corner.
It's the token dive for me that made me laugh.
What,
embarrassing.
He's did like a dive after the ball's already gone in.
He just gets it wrong. He just gets it wrong completely.
He got it completely.
Because he weren't perfectly in the corner.
No,
nowhere near the corner.
No, he wasn't.
Literally nowhere near the corner.
He made up for it all later in the game.
Yeah,
he basically,
unfortunately.
Really.
I love the fact you're not having the save from Mazraoui. You're like,
no, it was a very good save that, but it was a De Gea save as soon as because we were right in line with it where we were sat.
I thought
the second one on Bruno is a comfortable. Obviously, it was a comfortable save. The impressive part of that was how quickly he got up. Do you know, on the replay, he got.
Was it Collier running in there? Mate, might have had a goal there.
Do you see Højlund on that replay, by the way? On that attempt, he's like hanging out on the edge of the box, like jogging,
just enjoying himself.
Instead of following in, where if he did follow in, he might have gotten the end of that.
He's just got. I feel sorry for Rasmus Højlund at the minute, you know.
I don't.
I know you don't, and I get it, but the guy's got zero confidence, and it's like it's sad to see. Is he good enough?
Has he gone in?
I don't know. But
has he got him with RH yet?
Maybe that's a. I'm not having a dig at him, but maybe he does need something. He just needs something to boost his confidence. And there was a moment yesterday where he came on. He did something pretty basic. The crowd gave him a bit of a cheer, and I thought, okay, let's get behind him. We want him to score. We want him to do well. But then he has that chance anyway. His touch is probably the wrong touch, or maybe he needs to hit it first time. You just think a player that's on form at least gets a shot off there. A player that believes in himself. And there's just times as well. Like there was one point where I think he was stood in an offside position. He was just seemed to take ages coming back from it. He just he just looks all at sea.
Yeah.
And if we're going to win the Europa League, he's going to play a part in that. He is.
Yeah.
It's not
still
just,
our top scorer in the competition.
Well, there you go. Like, we need him to find his mojo.
And I do think as well, he's in one of those moments on top of everything where everything he does is under a microscope. Yeah. And Onana's in a similar boat, although he had a good game yesterday. Dalot is in another one. Xerxes is in another one.
What's going on with your boy?
Maz robbed the assist yesterday.
Yeah, players who, whatever they do, people are looking at more details of their movements, of their touches, of their everything. Like, for instance, and this is maybe a bad example, that save that Raya made, that double save, brilliant. He palms the first one straight back into the middle of the pitch. Yeah. That's something Onana's been criticised for non-stop over the last couple of months.
Nah, worse than that. He spun behind him.
Yeah.
So he saved it and the ball was flicked up and he was going to go in.
But we're sitting here saying, what a brilliant double save. And I'm not saying if it was, but like, we have to look at, people are wanting to see the positive in that save.
Yeah.
And they
the Xerxes one? Got down low well.
Yeah, no, he did some good saves. But I'm just saying, the free kick was bad goalkeeping. Yes, the wall was 11.2 yards away, but what's that? 10% further than it should be. It's nowhere near the corner it goes in.
The way they're going on like that, they're acting like that cost them the title. That's like the reason they didn't win the title in 2025 is because of that 1.2 yards.
The new narrative is it's David Coote's fault.
Why is that?
They're saying that the referee started to favour Liverpool ever since the whole...
To make up for David Coote.
Because David Coote said that.
Is it not draining? Is it not absolutely draining to just do this?
No, it's just a form of copium, innit?
It's embarrassing, isn't it?
What was Arteta doing after the game? What was up with him?
That's one of the biggest reasons they've not won the league.
His head's gone on
it. His head has been permanently gone for 5 years. Every time they draw a game, if they could draw the first game of the season and he's fucking flying in there, he was in the ref's room and he was screaming. It's like, mate, it's so early on. Why are you on the pitch taking your shirt off when there's 34 games of the season left? It's no wonder they bottle it every year. They've got Mr. Emotional on the bench. Every time it's like a bit of fucking, what is it? Science, a little bit of potassium. Yeah. Put it in water, just fucking sets on fire.
He does it all the time.
Anytime anything happens, he's on fire. Fuck off.
So what, Arsenal have had like 21 red cards since he's been in charge?
Really?
Which is more than,
of course they have.
Which is more than any other Premier League side.
They're just reflecting this absolute chaos on the touchline.
No, but it's not him. It's PGMOL. It's their fault.
It's their fault.
It's their fault. It's not the fact that the manager is that the players, the team itself is basically a mirror of the over-emotional manager.
And the free kick that they had, that where our wall was also too far back, the fact Odegaard missed that, whose fault's that? I don't know what the logic would be there, but the fact that Bruno is able to get the ball over the net, over the wall, and their midfielder isn't, that's the ref's fault. They had the same advantage for one of their free kicks and did fuck all with it. That's not our fault. That's not the ref's fault. That's your fault.
Do you think his head's just kind of gone in it? It's been because he hears the murmurings about the fact that he's coming so close so far so often.
I think this season's got to hurt you more because City fell off.
Yeah,
like City are not City. You've had to go toe to toe with City when they've been in and around the best, didn't they? Like, when they won the treble, was he the man? Did Arsenal finish second?
I believe so.
Yeah, so there's that season.
They finished second twice.
Yeah, and last season where City obviously
this will be
almost won a double, but we stopped them. So this was probably the season you think, right, if Arsenal kick on now, we could go toe to toe with City. City drop off, but Liverpool are absolutely like playing the best football they've played ever. And you're like, right, like, that must really frustrate you. Yeah. But then, and also the fact that he knows he needs a striker. He knows he needed some reinforcements in January and didn't get him. And he probably can't just say, "Oh, the boys let me down" or whatever. So he's just double frustrated.
And
then
bad luck with injuries on top of that.
Yeah, it's proper funny, isn't it?
We've got a super chat from Glenn F who says, "I've only just tuned in, so don't know what you've been talking about, but I just say stop going on about him getting the sack. Please, he'll turn it around." We haven't spoken about that at all today.
No,
we've been giving Amarim praise. We've been giving everyone
unless
praise.
He's talking about Arteta.
No, yeah, exactly. No, we're talking about.
Do you know we've not given praise? Who I loved yesterday. You get one guess each.
It's a player.
We've not mentioned him. No. Yeah, it's a player.
Dalot.
No.
Lindelof.
Close.
Lindelof.
No, but that's not bad. You're almost there.
Go on then.
De Ligt. De Ligt.
He's quietly just a really good
I love him.
He's had a good month or two, hasn't he?
I know, but there was a time yesterday where he smashed in at someone and got the crowd going, "Oh, mate, I celebrated like it was a goal."
Do you know what I loved about that? It was one of those where it was like,
"Go on, my son."
It was like 3 50-50s back to back, innit? And then it spanned to the lit, and I was like, you've got to clear the player out as well, but it's always that last challenge that someone takes it too far, innit?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? When there's been like. 1 or 2, and then the ball's, but it's a loose ball again, and it's 2 players that hit each other up, and you're just like, oh, it's going to be like a mad challenge here, and then everyone's going to pile in, and someone will get sent off. But he did it like under control as well. But,
I was a big fan of him yesterday. You're right
Yes,
about Lindelof and
Lindelof.
Mazraoui, by the way. They both played very well. I've got to give Lindelof and a little bit of an apology to Casemiro as well. Because I was thinking, Casemiro, he looks done, but I thought he did alright.
The system suited him, like we said before. I do think that playing deeper with less gaps, that's why the same system suits Maguire, it suits Casemiro, it suits Garnacho, it would suit Rashford if he was still here. Being able to sit back, absorb pressure with your bigger, slower, heavier players, and then break quickly with your quick players. That's what we've done so well under Solskjaer. That's what we did in the first season well under Ten Hag, and it worked yesterday. But it's because the squad's set up for that. If you swapped, look at Man City's team for instance. There's spells where they have played and successfully. Foden, Grealish, even Alvarez and players like that, who none of them have got amazing top end pace, but you control the game and their technicality can hold the ball so far up the pitch that you don't need pace. When we're playing like we did yesterday, you do need pace. That's why I thought Garnacho looked a lot better than Xerxes, or certainly a lot more dangerous. But it suited Casemiro. And that's the battle that Amorim's got on his hands all the time, isn't it? Do you play a system that doesn't suit him, or do you change your ideas and go for one that does?
He seems to have kept him happy as well. I know he's on a lot of money, so he should be happy. But there's always rumours that Casemiro weren't getting on with Ten Hag, and he's seeing his ass when he got subbed against Liverpool, whatever. Well, Casemiro seems like okay with not getting picked most weeks, and even if Colley's ahead of him, he seems to not have fallen out with the manager or be sulking with him, just getting on with it. So, I know he's on a lot of money, but it's good. I think he's working all right for Amorim in that front. I feel for Amorim, man, because I just feel, okay, we should have had better results with some of the players we've got, but he's missing so many players, and this squad isn't up to it. And I feel like at the minute, he's just got to try and get to the end of the season, hopefully, if we could do something in Europa, happy days, and then next season, just in the summer, just back in properly, man. Yeah,
we have to. Andrew A says we moan just as much about our wall versus Villa in 2022. There you go. I don't think it was this. I never saw Sky Sports doing the ref counting the wall, the steps out.
It's different anyway, man. This is United channel. We don't care about that.
Yeah, forget that. Should we do a little Wally of the week?
Yeah, I've got one for you.
I mean, I'm going to go first and just say Arsenal fans.
Right, okay.
Just the meltdown when anything happens.
No, I wasn't being like, I'm alright.
The meltdown from Arsenal fans.
I've got one that was in my mind straight away. No, Arsenal fans, yeah.
That's mine.
It's just...
It could be that every week, though.
You do that a lot where it's Arsenal fans.
This is relevant, direct to Manchester.
Do you know what I love, right? I know it's absolute nonsense, and I don't really watch it, but I saw the clip on social media of the Arsenal fan. Was it Arsenal Fan TV or it was AFTV? And they're like, they haven't got David Beckham anymore. Who just got stood over this free kick? Bruno Fernandes. Yeah, mate, shut up.
See you later. You haven't got David fucking Seaman anymore either. So your shit keeper can't even say that.
Nice. I heard that Arsenal fans are just annoying, aren't they? Pretty quiet as well for most of the game yesterday. I thought.
Was that your Wally of the week then?
Nah, Declan Rice is my Wally of the week.
Oh, go on then.
Like, he played well. Fair play him, scored a goal.
People pretend. I know this won't be popular on here, but people pretend he's not a good player.
No, he's good.
I think he's
quality player.
Decent, man. Yeah, he's alright. just not as good as Kobe Mainoo. But the whole running over to United fans and telling us to shush, fuck off.
Did you shush when he did it?
Yeah, obviously. He told me to. That's why I'm annoyed.
I'm upset at him that I did what he told me to.
Yeah, I was chanting and he went,
gave in.
I went, oh, sorry.
Lads, quiet. Did you not see what he did?
Shut up, Will. What's the matter with you?
Declan said silence. Yeah, it's...
It was worse as well because there wasn't an obvious insult to aim at him by the fans. Like, if it's like a Scouse, it'll be you Scouse, whatever.
Yeah.
Or it's like, there's obvious ones.
Yeah.
But because he's like, you heard people like trying to bring up the fact he used to play for Ireland and now plays for England as some sort of insult.
Yeah, but you looked a bit weird on that video when they woke you up and you went,
yeah, like what? It was like,
hard to
shut up, Rice. You was playing for Ireland, now you play for England, you dickhead.
Yeah.
But what?
Who cares?
Shut up, you Cockney.
Yeah.
It was like, there was a Cockney was a big one, but it was like, I could see some people struggling.
He's an unproblematic player.
The obvious one
Relatively.
to aim at him, which is always annoying, isn't it?
Just a normal lad.
Yeah, you want something to go straight in with. You can, whatever.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It was kind of annoying as well.
Who's your Wall of the week, Ronaldo?
You said Arsenal fans, innit?
Yeah.
And you said...
I said Declan Rice.
Why you
I'm just going to stay on brand.
Oh, you got one?
We spoke about it.
Mikel.
Arteta.
It's great.
Walked
out of an interview.
Lego head.
Walked out of the interview. I hate that.
He was on edge the whole time, though, wasn't
I
he?
hate it because, as a reporter, right, you've all been there. When you're interviewing someone and you ask them...
Was it a mad question, though, is it?
No, that's what annoys me. If he'd have said, like, what's this about your missus cheating on you or whatever, fair enough. But he was literally like, do you think, is it affected you, the amount of injuries you got? Did you need a striker in the summer? In January, sorry? A reasonable question.
It wasn't that.
No, it was the title race.
It was title.
The title race. Then he
race.
went to walk off, and then he said just one more. And then he asked him about...
15 points.
Yeah.
Do you still almost like to say, do you still believe you can win? And the reason why journalists have asked him that is because they asked him about a week ago, is it over? And he did this whole dramatic, over my dead body. Do you know what I mean? Trying to like, pander into the fans.
There's
and
no
trying
need
to sound
for it.
like,
I think like
the end,
too many managers are comfortable just being knobheads with reporters, and it's not always necessary. I get if a reporters try, like, who's that idiot from Sky that I can't stand? The one
David Cottrell.
Yes, thank you. Gary Cottrell, thank you. Who just like flew over to Portugal to just demand that Ruben Amorim speaks English. Fucking idiot. But sometimes it's like just an innocent, obvious question like, is the title race done? Well, this is, do you think this is it now? Like, it's not a ridiculous
also,
question.
You can just say, we're going to fight for every single game. It's not up to us, but we're going to do what we can to make it as close as possible.
Yeah.
But it's just like, yeah, come on, mate. And also this thing of like...
It's just Arsenal,
like
the cringe.
Like he's got the trophy cabinet and the stature in the game to be like, over my dead body. Well, yeah, we're not even over your dead body. Over your largely trophyless body.
Nice.
Like, you don't need to be dead. You're just not doing it. Do you know what I mean? It's just, what did he win? A trophy after a few months when he was basically caretaker and then hasn't won anything since. Like, since he got his team together, he's won fuck all and got to what? No finals?
That switched to English to try and get a cap. Remember?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. No, there was talk one day because he was eligible to play for England. He never played for Spain. And there was talk that he was going to play for England.
Did he do it?
No.
I know he didn't play for England.
No,
did he switch?
No, I don't think I did.
Because he didn't
play for
He's never good enough to play for Spain.
No, he wasn't getting in that Spanish midfield back in the day, was he?
I mean, not trying to defend him, but fucking hell, you've got to be good to get in there. What would they have like? Iniesta,
Fabregas,
Busquets. Also,
Iniesta,
people
Iniesta,
like Mata knocking about, Cazorla in there as well.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing to break into, that, isn't it? Anyway,
He's still shit.
Harry Potter says, can't wait for Dorgu back. Will be dorgasmic.
Love
Very
that.
Nice.
Big fan of that.
I think we should end it on that, don't you?
End it on a high.
It's been quite a positive podcast. All we need is a draw. That's all we need.
I don't care what Roy Keane says.
All we need is 2 draws.
We're easily pleased.
Right. Just get through.
This is what's happened to us.
Sociedad, and it's going to be party time.
My God.
We haven't won in 2 games.
Into a quarter-final. Come on. Brilliant. Right, thank you very much for joining us, everyone. This has been the Paddock Podcast. Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Joe. See you in a bit.